shut that up here. Recording. Okay, welcome everybody. This is going to be a brief introduction for who is here and who is watching the replay, hopefully, with some interesting insights on what we're going to do. So I'm going to show you the model of the system that we kind of like came up with moving forward. And right now I'm just gonna first of all share the screen first and foremost to show that here on the group you can already go and check this thing out. Okay, so this is kind of like a short 7-minute version. And again, as I create new content, this is gonna be the content that is going to go in the new site. So the new site is gonna be very systematic. So as you can see here, there is 9 steps. And in my opinion, this is gonna make it a lot easier for people to be able to actually finally be able to see in 9 steps what is the problem for them. You know, we essentially, the protocol is, you know, is behind of getting somebody from a diet mentality or food issue or whatever to be able to create continuity and sustainability to stop doing the thing they're doing, whether it's emotional eating, whether it's bad habits. But then there is all this systemized method here that gets you to do all these things before you can actually go and concentrate around exercise and workout. And when those things are not happening, and this is why I came up, because I actually went through myself, when you focus, for example, only on the information part and you neg the mindful eating part, or better say you don't necessarily pay attention to what happened in the moment, then you end up kind of like counting calorie and obsessing around food and say, okay, I'm still gonna be able to eat those cookies. Yet then, like you on the long term you fail because you never change the relationship with food, right? So this is like 9 steps that everybody needs to be able to get change. Ilya, good seeing you. So the thing is that, or better say, how can I explain this? Why this thing is gonna be, in my opinion, the easiest way to get everybody to follow and not being confused and not being kind of like not fell off track anymore, is because the website essentially is gonna be, let's say, this platform or another platform, but every steps are gonna include anywhere from 2 or 3 to 5 video a week. And this is gonna be a very intensive 9 weeks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And everybody has to go through this pad here to be able to create, this picture up here, be able to lose, for some of you, up to 3 dress sizes, for some of you just a few kilo, but yet to create kind of consistency and respectful relationship with food. Those of you that are here that tell me, Jerry, I don't have a emotional eating problem, I don't have a eating disorder. If you're obsessing around, if you're not able to do, for example, what I did right now, because I've been struggling with food addiction and emotional eating, but this year something happened very differently for me that, as you can see, I'm going to share pictures for those of you who are not my friend inside a group of my mom 45 different type of cookies that she made this year. And the issue is that the other years I would simply go and kind of like be here on step number 2 and say, I'm going to count my calorie. Let's do 80% right and 20% wrong. And you find a way to actually eat those food that you're not supposed to eat, right? Until you don't change relationship with food. So if you don't do that, you might just stop, try to get leaner or try to put on muscle tone, because you're going to be faced with, looking at the scale all the time, right? So this approach, and as I built it up, and I'm going to probably start to record the first video like later on, I'm going to put everything inside a group. So there is no excuse of people not seeing it. And you don't have to wait a few weeks for me to get ready the site. You're going to see what a video looks like. You're going to see something written behind, and probably there is a call to action to do something, right? And this is really going to be the 9 intensive weeks. And I see Leah here that obviously she's part of the team. And as we're going to try to get other people in, we're going to explain that 9 weeks, 3 months is generally what somebody needs to actually get a transformation. And again, after the 3 months is really consolidation of this transformation. So this is the intensive part, but every week I'm going to come up with a team. And every week I'm going to hammer this, and every time it's going to be different, and every single time people are going to have the ability to either a round table, hot seats, or calls with me to be able to clarify what that particular step look like in their reality. Let's say that somebody struggled only, and for example, I see Sylvia here, that Sylvia mainly struggles, you know, besides what we found out about her digestion now, it would be really to figure out what's going on here, right? Because like she does the works, yet she doesn't necessarily see regular results. Then we figure out what's going on here. And every single time there is gonna be something that can be improved downstream to be able to get this particular result. So in a second here, I'm gonna try to explain you what's going on. So the step number one is really to identify a trigger and figure out why have you built a not good relationship with food, or you still do bad habits, or you still say to yourself, yeah, I gotta go for that dessert. And most of the time, it doesn't come down anything less than really not be able to act upon impulse on when it comes to emotion, right? So we have a trigger, or better say automation going on in our brains, and the brains go on a pathway that is called pathway of least resistance, which is basically saying, if I can take a shortcut, I'm not gonna go around, right? I'm just gonna take a shortcut. And every single time we deal with people that build some sort of food disorder or bad habits, or like saying, when you hear this, I'm a sweet tooth, right? I like sweet stuff. It's not that you like sweet stuff, it's just your body got accustomed to eat very sweet, and this is physiological. Yet there is a emotional component or a automation component that cannot be broken, because every single time you see this calculator here, and this would be a cookie, you kind of trigger and you say, okay, I need to get this, right? It's something, it's part of me, right? So here we have to analyze the emotion part. And this is funny because this takes care of whether you're an emotional eater, whether you have an eating disorder, whether you're full-blown bulimic, that you need to go to therapy, or you think that you need because you think you're broken. This takes care of everything when it's done properly. Why? Because it's like imagining, and I'm gonna get a good analogy when I'm gonna make the video here, or one of the video, that talks about having a bucket. Like if you think about a bucket that is dirty, that is old, that is full of bad things in there, or an aquarium. I like the aquarium. I used to have, not me, one of my ex-girlfriends, she had a turtle, right? Turtle aquarium gets dirty really fast. And it's funny because you clean it, and right away, maybe like a day or two, it's dirty again, right? So every time you do that, you kind of like see this thing getting cluttered, the water getting bad, and then like you tell yourself, I just need to get rid of that, right? You wouldn't, and I want you to take the emotion you have every time around food, around stress, around things happening in your life, around overwhelm, around like, because this is what's gonna be about. Step number one is gonna touch all these things. And then every time you have that, I don't want you to stay there and analyze, because every time somebody made a mistake or technically don't eat well, they would say, I didn't eat well because I had this emotion. So you go to therapy, they would tell you, you're broken, you know, figure out why you have this emotion. You go to another person that doesn't require go to therapy, but let's say he has a bad habit. Oh, every time I see a dessert, I need to eat it, right? It is there, I need to eat it. I might just well do another hour of training. Nonetheless, you never really tackle the problem. Like you never tackle the aquarium that is dirty. And instead of going inside the aquarium and say, let's see this stuff, what is that? If it's garbage or whatever, like you just throw that off. Like you just eliminate the emotion, right? So you need to learn how to see thoughts. You need to learn how to act with that. And I'm gonna have you consider that we're gonna do that doing 3 to 5 minutes meditation. That is something that you need to include. Not guided meditation, but something that you need to start analyzing your thoughts. So you're gonna focus on the breath, the breathing, and then every single time your mind starts wandering, you're gonna catch it back and you're gonna put it back. If somebody doesn't wanna do meditation, like a lot of people, probably including myself in the past, I wouldn't consider that. I'm gonna have you consider that if you don't do that, you might just well forget about doing this other thing properly, because it's part of it. And again, the habits is important. I'm not gonna say if you miss one day is a problem, but then it's something that you need to actively wanna do. Why? Because otherwise you're never gonna be able to catch your emotion on time before acting on impulse. And if you're acting on impulse, we know exactly what that means, okay? So introduction wise, this is going to be what we're looking at, something really specific, 3 or 5 video out of mind traps, you know, emotion, stress. The biggest things that I know that me or similar people ask me that I know that you would necessarily create not a proper relationship with food. This is the fun part for a lot of people that still think that is the most important part, which is the strategy part. Yet people won't really realize that you know enough of that. Like, you know, people know under the surface what these things are. Like, you know that you need to create deficits, but we're gonna go dive in really deep into understand label reading. We're gonna understand metabolism. We're gonna say, okay, your body thinks in days, not in weeks, not in days. There is a lot of things people need to be aware of. Things such as you saw in the past, like a lot of, you know, Instagram meme to see how much you weigh, like things how much they weigh, you know, awareness. For example, I just saw a picture that was really funny. I hope that you can see it from this. And this is like what it was, but this kind of like make a, let me see if I can share it. See this kind of pictures here that shows you like how just from like when you put a little less oil, you know, like how many calorie changes. So you need to get awareness, but knowing that you need to get awareness doesn't necessarily pay off on the long run if you don't do everything else. So, you know, I'm gonna try to make a little bit more easy to apply information, and this is gonna be the most informative step because everything else is gonna be upon taking action. The step number 3 is really, you know, the mindful eating, which has done wonders this year for me. This is why I'm able to really walk away from sweets and say I'm able to make the decision on the moment. And I'm gonna repeat: if you have done 2 weeks of meditation at least from week number 1, 2, and you get here, you're already kind of like warmed up. Then you have learned something very important. Number 1, you have learned how to give your body not to get your body to deficiencies. So like you give enough food to the body, and you learn kind of like what was the problem. So if you're a person that eats from stress, like you're a stress eater, you need to remove stress. If your partner, or let's say somebody that you are with is abusive, and that creates you to hit under emotion, probably you need to remove the partner. Like that's common sense, right? So you get to number 3, and mindful eating teaches you that if you don't have a goal and you act upon instant gratification, you know, you're not gonna make it. So this is the hard part. This is kind of like when you see you make the wrong choices, you need to kind of like sit down and make your conversation and stretch it out. And usually it would come, this is kind of like the most difficult steps. And this is why, you know, 9 weeks is gonna be very intense, but then you're always gonna come back to all these steps. And it's funny because after you go around the whole thing, you're gonna detect which one is more which one is the one that makes you kind of like fail, right? Like for the moment. So you're always gonna come down to maybe 3, up to 3. Like you're always gonna have strength in some of these, but yet you're not gonna, like, for example, you might be somebody that goes to the gym pretty regularly, so this and this is already taken care of. You might be very kind of like feeling, okay, I'm messing up here, and then it comes down to downstream, like you're not sure if you're doing everything proper, right? So as we move down, doing the first 3 steps is gonna get you to get leaner. You know, it's gonna probably get you to get a lot of awareness. Yet you need to move forward and understand that exercise has to be adherence, right? So if we build adherence to exercise, we know that there is not one thing that works. There is skills that you need to acquire down here, and then there is all this trajectory up on top that you need to somehow to change. So it's a lot with planning, and I had a something with planning here in the past, like just 2 weeks ago, and I saw that for some people did it, but it's something that we need to go back and do again, and kind of like learn how to plan and plan to execute and then do it, right? Then when you're finally able to drop the kilos, and then we're talking about getting smaller, right? And getting some sort of adherence to self-care, then we get to this position here for most people. Like for most women, they will get smaller, they're not gonna look better, and then they think, is this thing really working, right? When we are on this step. So it's all about then sculpting the body. So then you need to do the same thing you do with nutrition, you need to do with exercise. You need to understand that weight training is what is necessary, yet there is progression, right? Now we're gonna go dive deep into type of progressions and into teaching you routines and teaching you how to build those routines. 10, for example, 3 times 8 is not the same thing like 8 times 3. When you do 3 times 8 on a gym, on any given exercise, volume speaking, like you're still doing 24 reps, right? But when you do 8 times 3, it's 24 reps. But the difference is that when you do 3 reps and when you work on a buffer, you're able to get a lot more kilos, or better say, you're gonna go get a higher weight, yet you're gonna focus on 1 repetition at a time. Everybody can do 3 reps. Not everybody, like when you do 8 times 3, 3 times 8, you're focusing on getting to the end of the sets, and sometimes you don't get to the end. Why? Because like you don't have the neurological level of strength that you need, right? So we're gonna focus on what are those differences and everything that can be improved from a perspective of you not being face to face with me. That might include, and I'm not gonna exclude it because I saw something really cool the other day on a TV. They have, I don't know, for those of you that are cyclists or something, they have a bike that right now that there is like a TV in front of it or a screen that you can connect with people around the world. And there is one guy that kind of like give the class, and like in the meantime, you're connected with a lot of people. I don't exclude that one time here from the house or from somewhere or from a park, depending where I am, I'm gonna give a class on the spot. I'm gonna say, okay, come to the class for a Zoom 30 minutes. I'm gonna actually give the class like on the spot in front of a computer. So that might be what we're coming out in 2020, if necessary, if I see that this thing is actually something that is cool. And again, the delivery method is gonna be fairly similar, but we're gonna really dive deep into why people struggle. And there is not gonna be room for kind of like not knowing and guessing work and not being clear anymore. Here we have the one that currently Sylvia struggles with the most, which is basically sometimes getting data, making sure that you get to a point, because that we see this all the time. We get people losing weight, then we get people gaining weight back right away. Why? Because obviously there is no real clarity on the things that needs to get measured, right? It's not about the weight, it's about pictures, measurements. Those of you that have been watching the group, you saw the scale that I just got. So I'm really looking to get some sort of good affiliate with them to be able to show this to promote this to everybody, because that scale shows you everything. And let me just pull it up if I can find it. This scale is something, it's really, in my opinion, one of the best things that they created for the price that they created, because it's something $100 or $80. So that's depending where, because apparently I don't know if they can ship it everywhere. This is kind of being the problem now, but let me just find it for those of you that have not seen. Oh my God, there's so many posts here. There you go. This is what it is. So this would give you all these things: body fat, subcutaneous fat, weight, water, BMI, visceral fat, and again, the level of precision is crazy, because like when you lose 0.3 body fat, it will tell you like 1.5 kilos less, and it's only like 0.3 kilo. Like it's nothing when it comes to fat. So it's really gonna be a lot detailed and a lot. So moving forward, we have the identity part, and of course this is big. Is something that we've been doing for a very long time. We need to let go of the whatever identity. If you're a perfectionist, an emotional eater, or something of that, we need to kind of like lose that part, because if you don't kill that inside of you, then you always act upon getting short-term results and never on the long term. And that's of course take us to the confidence part, that people do need to build confidence before actually getting to a body that they can love. Because again, we're not twisting you into something you can love. Hopefully we can teach you self-acceptance and teach you how to love you before you can actually get there. And the last part is of course building habits. Like you will have built habits upon the whole, like you would have built habit throughout the whole thing. Here is just how to consolidate habits. So this you would be able to spot where the problem is, whether or not you go from a lot of people that've been here, like originally Leah, you've been here very long doing the program. You know, you see these steps consequentially. You get into passion. Like we had people like Marisa, Pilar, Mimi, like that people that actually see a reward into fitness. And this is eventually what we need to see, because here you would think that you cannot do something, you get emotional, and then you eat so you can feel the reward of 10 minutes of kind of like dopamine reward for 10 minutes. Here, when you get to maintenance, you're going to be able to see reward into exercising. And it's funny because it has to happen. It's something that your body needs work with, it needs time. But usually after about 2 weeks, you understand that, you know, like the emotional part is just something that is there. You know, all this cycle here of binge eating and everything, like if you can desensitize your physiological part of your body, then all this cycle breaks, right? And then you build a new cycle. The new cycle is really cycle of kind of like, okay, you know, we're gonna do something healthy now. And most of you are already here and have done that. So as you can see here, this is gonna become a huge webinar like that you can obviously watch again if you feel, mostly for the people outside this program. And and I'm breaking it up in 9 steps because the system is gonna be 9 steps. And this is gonna be like, when done properly, is going to be, in my opinion, the best way to get product delivery, but also to get to our results. And again, this of course comes. I have like 5 different mentors, and this is one of it. It's one system that and you see this in everything that, you know, in business, in finance. Like when you take 9 steps that people struggle with, and the point A is, you know, not getting there, being overweight, you know, with emotional food involvement, you know, emotional eating or something like that, and up here is like, you know, mastering a proper relationship with food so you can lose up to 3 dress sizes and building habits to keep it. Like all these things necessarily fix a problem, and all of them, they have 2 to 5 steps in which like you learn every time. And that 9 weeks is very intensive, and after that is all consolidation. Every single weeks we go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're finding everything in the units, and you find everything like very much labeled on what is going to be the new site, in such a way that it doesn't really matter where you find yourself, but you're always going to figure out, okay, out of these 9 steps, you know, this is what makes me struggle. And if I don't fix that, then I might just well quit. So this is a kind of like how can I say, is wishful thinking, or it's like kind of like a motivational part for me, and say, this is going to be very different. Like, it doesn't matter, like Basma, you've been here for a very long time, Lee, like all of you have been here for a while, that we have some new people this week. It doesn't matter if you've been here a week or a year. Like, this is something I'm expecting everybody to follow to a T, because like I said before, this requires catching your thoughts. You know, number one is require catching your thoughts. And you're going to see this when I talk about the bucket or the aquarium, and I make this analogy and say, okay, you need to catch your emotion and kind of like throw it off without make so much analyzation, because every time we're faced with this analytical part and say, okay, I did not do this that I'm supposed to, I hate bad, because these things happen, and because I felt this and this and this. So how can I not feel like that? It's easier to say I'm gonna break the pattern. But in order to do that, you need to be able to catch your thoughts. Like, you wander around in a car, like you driving for say, you see a huge billboard, let's say with a burger or with something or with a sweet, whatever you like, right? Or you go on Facebook and you go through my profile and you see my 45 different type of cookie my mom made, and you feel like, I want to have cookie right now, right? And you're not able to catch yourself in the moment. Like, you would necessarily say something such as, oh, I've been doing well, I've been following the habits, right? And I've been so stressed in the work. Now, if I get my hand on it, like I'm gonna hit this particular cookies, and then I'm gonna fix it later. Why do you say all that? Why? Because you have not got the ability to see your thoughts. If you open a skull up of a person that has been meditating for a month, you see physical changes in there. Study shows that. So you need to be able to catch your thought before you can thinking about calories. Because calories, like when we know calories, when we know everything else, when we know like, okay, we're gonna feed those deficiency and everything, that's amazing, right? But we need to be able to somehow like improve on the basics, improving on those things that is really gonna matter on the long haul if you wanna succeed, right? Like when we get to and this we get to, for example, these steps over here, we get to steps number 6 and 7 and 8. You know, we had a lot of people, I'm not going to make name in the past, which they came into this program looking more or less like that, maybe 3-5 kilo more. For some of you, maybe you remember the scenes, and they get better, and they're still conditioned to watching that. Like if they see a kilogram going up in the scale, they will not know why, and they will get very obsessed, right? Now, if you know that, for example, I'm using the scale because I'm really seeing that. If you know that this scale shows you that you're losing 1 kilo, but you're only losing this, or let's say that you gain 1 kilo, right? But you gain no difference here, and you would say, okay, cool, like it's my muscle that I'm gaining, right? Now you have clarity. Now you are clear. Then it's up to you on going up on this step and say, oh, why the heck am I feel still not confident in my skin? I'm looking better. The scale says that I'm better. The measurements, the picture is better. So, you know, I don't feel confident in my skin still, right? So how am I fixing that? And I'm trying just to find that. Yeah, so why am I still unhappy, right? Well, maybe it has something to do with me not be able to wear my clothes, because I could wear these clothes. I'm not wearing these clothes because I'm choosing not to, because when I go out, I'm scared that people are going to watch me wrong, or they're going to judge me, right? So if you don't fix this emotional part or this confidence part, you might, for 6 months from now, fall back into you eating for that problem, you eating for that. And I know it's not for a lot of people that are still doing it, but then they fall back and they eat. And this is why a lot of people, and this is funny to me, because I know that a lot of people that left this program, when they see this thing here, they're gonna ask to come back. And it's like, oh, maybe 6 months, maybe not now, maybe not in a year, they're gonna ask, okay, can I please, because they feel like it's something new, it's different, they see all these colors and stuff. And the funny part is, like, they leave and they say, I know what to do. Now I feel like, you know, I know what to do, because they fail to realize that change is temporary if you don't make it permanent. Everybody right now, or in the world, like whether they're in this program or not, they see these things and they say, okay, cool, I built a better relationship with food. I look better, I look like that, you know, now I'm cool, now I can do it, now I have habits, right? They don't think about when and if they lose the job, if the car breaks, if the boyfriend leaves, if somebody, God forbid, pass away. Like, they don't think about those stress that if you don't master an identity, like, you're gonna fall back out of track again. And you're gonna be, essentially, you're gonna start from zero. You might not gain back 10 kilo, but you probably will lose a lot of things that you gain. Why? Because it's patterns. Like, people don't realize patterns. So with this being said, this system will take care of patterns. It will take care of you really understand, because of you not living on feelings anymore, or you not saying, okay, let's do some guesswork, but it will take care of saying, okay, cool, I'm not getting results. Let's figure out what is in the 9 steps. Why am I not getting results? Is it because I don't know stuff? Is it because I know that I could name, which I'm not gonna do, a few people that are in the programs here, even currently, that, like, they doing most of the thing right, and yet they say, okay, I'm holding this dessert. I'm holding the dessert for the end of the week because I deserve it. Like, I could name that because I had to have this conversation on the phone, and then it's like you never, like, you might have all this, you might get here, you might not be essentially good like that, but you never fix a relationship with food. And what does it do? It's a huge problem, because in the future, like, as you age, let's say you did everything the same like you did this year, and you do that for 10 years. As you age, 10 years from now, your metabolism is now 10% slower from the age. So you're not gonna get away with the same thing you get away now. So that tells me that, in my opinion, even though some of you are very seasoned, have been here for a while, like very successful already, and I'm not discrediting anybody, like the three of you are here, are now biggest success, almost like everybody's at success already. But this is something that everybody will need to pay a close attention to, because if you do, it's really only gonna head up to your life. And I know it's gonna be refreshing for some of you, because some of you been here and haven't necessarily saw new content for me. So I said, I'm not gonna just build up content so people can consume it and do nothing with it. And build content and then action upon the content, because that's gonna necessarily mean that you know, it's gonna be successful. The one that are here or are gonna see these things right now, know that for you to get results, you need coaching, you need accountability, you need calls, you need you showing up, you need doing the work. You don't need necessarily more information. I'm not gonna be able to reinvent the wheel, but I will be able to give you something different, something that probably, at least for, if you're like, at least coming in, you're gonna see a lot of people that will and have to have all these traits, like, you know, bad diet mentality kind of thing, like whether you are full-blown emotional eater or just not able to control your dessert, like that's an issue. Like if you travel, you don't know what to eat on a menu, that's an issue. If you get very consistently triggered by food, that's an issue. When you are like that, you don't necessarily get to build, you know, the body you want if you don't do the right things. If you don't know, if you have confusion around information, you will learn stuff such as that metabolism, there is no slow or fast metabolism. There is only the addition of the thing you have done throughout your life, not throughout this year, throughout all your life. So for those of you that have to lose anywhere more than 2 kilos, chances are it's something that you need to do for very long. And again, you need to every time go back and kind of say, okay, this is what I'm missing, this is what I can improve, and this is how it is. So, you know, get ready, because starting probably this week, you're gonna see some new content. I'm not gonna hold back from, I'm not gonna have you wait until I'm gonna put everything on the group. And this is why we keep the group very separated from the public group. I'm gonna throw out some of these things to the public, because I wanna make sure that people really get how we can help them. And then me and Leah and so many other people that comes on board, we're gonna make sure that, you know, nobody gets inside this bubble that we created if they're not ready, because I don't want people that necessarily come in just for the sake of learning calories. Okay, that's totally not my thing anymore. Okay, cool. So ladies, I'm gonna there's only 3 of you here, so hopefully a lot of people can see replays, and I'm gonna tag everybody. Anybody that has anything to say or anything to clarify, or any question about anything, or just some good holiday wish, we have a few more minutes here. I don't know how the countdown haven't started, so I still have about at least 3 more minutes or 5 more minutes. So anybody that want to say or ask anything, Basma, you're gonna see the replay. You missed a huge portion of it, but no problem.
Yeah.
So replays, for those of you that are watching replays, even in the future, if you cannot make a roundtable or hot seat or whatever, I want you to start taking the habits of commenting down below and asking for questions. So I'm really gonna, if somebody say hi, like I might say hi, but if somebody asks a question, I'm really gonna go live and answer to this question. I'm really gonna, like, either that, or I'm gonna take time and like sometimes I do, for example, with Sylvia or Leah, and I'm gonna make a long message or voicemail on Messenger. So I'm really here, like, connected. Yet I cannot get in anybody's calls. I have no idea what you think. So like, if I don't see any comments, I'm assuming that these things is clear. Okay, so for those of you that see the replay, ask more. It's better to ask more questions than no question. Okay, anybody that want to ask anything, or anybody that want to say anything, or this is more of a presentation more than such of a, not so much on a mindset or something like that. So anybody that want to say anything before we wish everybody happy holidays.
Not really.
Not really. Everything is clear.
Yeah, it was clear.
I have to watch the replay to catch up, but time difference, so.
The 2 of you that were here, like, what do you think about this? If you want revolution, a little bit about revolution. You think it's?
I think it's good. I think you're right in that you need to figure out why you behave the way that you behave. I mean, I think we all need to do it. And because the fact is that the triggers will exist anyway. Like there's always going to be some kind of stress in life. It's like you can't. There's always going to be something. The only thing you can change is like figuring out how you react to those things and then deciding what you do with it. So I think
there is two reasons why I decided to do it this way. First of all, because obviously, and I'm not going to hide back anything. I need a system that people are not getting confused with. Like, and I really want to find something that says, a system like that, in my opinion, is the only way for dividing. You living in kind of like facts or feelings. All these are going to have metrics. All these steps are going to be separate. Like the deliverable or the video that you're going to see for the groups are going to be different than what I'm going to do all the time on the marketing. And I'm going to say, okay, today we're going to talk about this, how you go from point A to point B, and kind of like show everybody that there is facts that you need to be clear on. The second thing that I'm going to do with those of you that are already here, that already are doing it, this is going to open up a lot of interesting conversations with everybody when you come into the roundtable about sharing confidence, about sharing identity, about sharing, your story. For some of you, this opens up a lot, and there are going to be a survey that is going to ask, even anonymous surveys, because if you want to build a movement, if you want people to move, people don't necessarily need to know more. People need to understand why they're not moving. People need to understand what's going to happen if they're staying in the same pain they've been for a very long time, right? And this is necessarily what people need. People don't need information. People need people to lead other people. And it comes out that you might be as much of a leader as I am to somebody else that faced the same conversation as you. Like Basma and I had a conversation about confidence. When Basma decided to open up that thing, like that, she's going to have a lot of similar impact with a lot of people coming from her background too. Like, I just opened up an ad today that goes from the biggest cities around the world, like that talks like which targets people that are doing masters or something. Like, so we're going to have a lot of people that might be the same culture you are. So, it's not going to be only in Switzerland anymore. It's going to be like worldwide, in such a way that we're going to really specifically focus on solving a problem, a big enough problem for people to care. And that, when I just give a bunch of information, people are not moved. Like, when I give you more, and usually something not tangible, which is like real conversation that gets you to move, then it's like you become of a leader as much as I do, right? So this is going to be very, very cool when these all things happen. So open up with new mentality in 2020. No longer I'm going to tease you about doing things otherwise, let's say, like come, otherwise like it's your results to get it. Yet for those of you who are here, you're going to see a revolution, when everything happens, because no longer we're going to put in people that are not ready. And well, what I mean by that is people that are ready for being committed. And if you are that, you might see people really sharing some deep and effective stuff. Ladies, if that's it for now, like I wish you all an amazing Christmas. If I'm not able to see anyone or live or whatever before, I try to make a round table soon as in the beginning of the new year. Hopefully everybody is doing well in the holidays. If you need anything from me, I'm always there. Also, you can message Leah if anything you need anything like that I'm not responding. But usually I will fairly respond after an hour, so or 24. But up to 24, no more than that. Ladies, as I put this out, a huge ask to all of you. It doesn't matter if you do it now or if you do it in a month, because anyway, we're going to go back to the 9 weeks anyway. When you see something that you see it and you're tagged or something, do the work, because again, and again, it's not like, one more time, it's not if you don't do it like nobody household, like, but again, like that's going to make a difference. Like, do the work. You're going to hear stuff such as share your story. Or try your best to share your story. You can put it like you can go live, you can post, you can do whatever you want. Do 3 minutes of meditation. Just look for that guide, look how to do it, give it a shot. Because then, like I know that I'm going to have this conversation again in the future, and those of you watching that are not here, you're gonna say, oh, I didn't eat well this week because of work, because something came up. And it's like, what came up? Like, it's stress. Okay, what stress? What is the stressor of the stress? Like, there is stressor and there is stress. Stressor are things that happens in your life. Stress is how you react. Why did you react this way? Oh, because I just do. But what happened in the moment? Oh, no, like, you don't know because you don't see your thoughts. And why would you see it if you don't meditate? So it's very important. There is a don't disregard or disvalue any of those information. I'm not expecting you to get it. It took me years to get it, and I'm still struggling, right? But out of all the Christmas that I had, this is the first Christmas I haven't given in on eating cookies. Like, I used to pick one. Oh, okay, cool. I work out. I did 20 squats with 200 kilos, so like I can do it. Like, but that doesn't fix anything. It fix you can get away with it, but it doesn't fix anything. So this year, I just walk away from it, and I'm able to, because like it takes time. It's something that people need to work with. So I'm not expecting you to get it right away, but sooner you start, sooner you get it. I'm just one that, for those of you that are here still, that value your time and everything, until you're here, until the last second, until the last minute, the last day, I want you to actually get something. I don't want you to just waste your time, your money, your energy, especially, and because that takes a lot of toll of most people, happiness and fulfillment. Let's make this year something that the year that really, for those of you that haven't yet seen the amazing results, but I think that everybody saw it in here, but for those of you, whether it's physical or mental, for those of you that still have yet to see it, let's make it, let's persist, because you might really be away from one or two. Like, every time I hear these memes, right? Like, there is one that I think it's called, the guy is called Brandon Kane. I wanted to look it up. There is this one meme that says, every time you're thinking about quitting, think about, and you make a huge analogy about something in the desert or something. It's about that you might be 1 or 2 steps away. You might be 2 steps away and you quit before, and then you restart in 3 weeks, and then you go back 20 steps. And every time you get closer, you just quit. And you say, oh, whatever, right? How can we make you not quit? How can we make something that is so easy to drag forward, that is not something heavy, right? So hopefully this is going to resonate with a lot of people. Ladies, Merry Christmas. I don't think I'm going to have a presentation before then, but I might have some lives or the day of Christmas. Let me know if you need anything from me, from us. Then in the New Year's, like starting before, you're going to see all this video come up. I'm going to do my best to keep it inside units. And then from there, once everything is ready, like as soon as you see a video, the training starts. You don't have to wait all the 9 steps, because in fact, there is going to be 3-4 videos for each steps or something like that. If you wait for all of that, you just necessarily losing up on like, you can start anything like that, but when the site is ready, then it's going to be back to back, and you will see everything. And every time you will go forward, it's going to make more sense, because it's going to be organic when we do, okay, step 1 is this, step 2 is step 3. This system, if you want to call it this way, he has produced results for any kind of business. And why produces results is because people go from A to B. You don't stop. Like, you don't necessarily stop anymore, and you don't guesswork, and you don't know your facts. So like, if you do it, like, I'm confident that the metrics will show up sooner or later. So, do your best. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for taking up the time Friday and in your beginning of the weekend. Let me know if you need anything from me. If you're watching the replay, ask question below. I'm going to tag all of you. Take care and have an amazing and wonderful Christmas. Thank you so much for being here. Take care. Bye. Bye-bye.
Happy Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.